Hello everyone, myself Saahieb Singh here to discuss about Linux privilege escalation. We will discuss about what actually it is, why it is so important, and some of its technique with practical hands-on experience. So guys, stay tuned with me and enjoy. Now we are going to our first slide. What actually it is. It is basically an unauthorized elevation of a user or a system privileges. When we gain access to a system as a normal user, we don't have much rights on a system. But if we want to perform the activity which are not allowed to a normal user on the system, we generally try to elevate the privileges of a current user to some higher user such as admin user or a root user. In simple words, we say like we are try to go from a lower permission account to a higher permission account. Now we will know why do we need this, why it is so much important. We need this because we can reset the password of any account. We can also access the files which have sensitive information such as shadow files, password files, or other system files. Yeah, and also can edit the configuration of any software because we can write into any file. We can be in a system for a very long time without the knowledge of anyone. And also, attacker can change the privilege of a current user and execute any administrative commands if he want. Now next. After gaining access to a system, our first step is to enumerate it. Gather as much as information about the system as it will help us to know about the system in better way and optimizing our payload. Subsequently, we can also try to investigate the sensitive files such as shadow files, password files, as these files contains the information about the user and their password. If any user have set the weak password, then we can break it using tool like Hashcat and John the Ripper. Next, we can also search the bash history file on the system as it stores all the record of a command entered by a user in the bash shell. If any user enters their password, then we can get it from this file very easily because it stores the content in the plain text. And we can also list the outdated packages on the system which is not yet in use but may be vulnerable to a privilege escalation attack. And using these packages, we can exploit the system. Now, so here are some techniques we can actually use to gain the privileges. There might be more than these, but let's first focus on them. First one is a kernel exploit, where we simply ask the kernel to run our malicious script as it has some privileges. Next one is a exploiting the sudo permissions. We just find the command which has sudo permission and try to exploit it. Another one is exploiting the SUID bit. It is a special type of permission which is set only on the executable files. Exploiting the capabilities. It is similar to a SUID bit, but it is much more secure than SUID bit. We will explore about it more in upcoming slides. The next one is the exploiting the cron jobs. As we all know, if we want to schedule any task on the Linux, we use the cron jobs. The last technique is the exploiting path. A path is simply a environment variable in the Linux, which can be exploited to escalate the privileges of a user. Let's discuss about them in more in next few slides with the practical labs also. So here is our first technique, kernel exploit. Kernel is a Linux system that manages the communication between the components such as a memory on a system and our any application that is currently running on our system. This is a critical function which requires to have some special privileges such as mostly a root user privileges. If we are able to exploit it, then we can alleviate the privileges. Here is some simple workflow of the kernel exploit. Basically, we trick the kernel into running our payload in the kernel mode and manipulate that kernel data. If we are able to do so, then the kernel will launch a shell with the root privileges. Okay. And now here's a time to move to a practical task about this kernel exploit. For practical task, I am using this Try Me Kali machine. If you are also doing this, then you can follow along with me in this video. Okay, so first we will find the Linux kernel version of the system with using uname -a command. It is using a kernel version 3.13. Okay, so our next step is to find its exploit uh, using a exploit db. So here you can see that there are multiple Linux exploits. So we are finding our one. So here it is. Now we need to import it somehow into our target machine so that we can run this file and can gain the privilege access. First, we will see what privilege right now we have. Yeah, we have a privilege of a current that is a normal user, not a root user. Okay, I have already installed that exploit into my system. Now I am exporting this system into the target machine using the Python server command, and we get into the target machine. Now we need to compile this binary using a GCC compiler. 37292.c minus o. Okay, so I got that file. Now we need to run this exploit, and here we got the root shell. Yeah. I hope you get an idea how this technique work. Now let's move to our next technique. So, what is the sudo command and how we can exploit it? Basically, sudo command is a super duo command which allows the current user to execute a command with a root privilege user. And in exploiting SUID methodology, we first check the command with the root privilege. If we find any command which has a root run with a root privilege and does not require a password to run it as a root user, then we will try to escalate the privileges using that particular command. Okay. Now let's get it more clear in the practical view. So here we are in our lab. Let's first check what user we are right now. Okay, so we are right now a current user which is not a root user. The first we will check the executable with the sudo permissions and also have a no password set on it using the sudo -l command. Yes, here we find the three executables: find, less, and nano. And also it requires no password when we are running as a root user. Just for a example, let's take this. Yes, so here it is not required any password. If you are running any other, let's like an map, yes, it is required for a password. So let's leave it now. Clear it, and we are using Yeah, we can use any of these to escalate the privilege or to get the root user shell. So here is a website known as GTFOBin.hi, which is a very great resource for finding the command to escalate the privilege. Here we will search for the find and click on the sudo because right now we are exploiting the sudo permissions. Yes, in this we first need to copy paste this, and if you want to read more about this, then this website will help you. So in this command, basically what we are doing, we are running the our uh, shell with the root privileges, which in turn will help us to get the root shell. So now let's run it, and yes, here we got the root shell. Hope you got it. Now let's move to one other techniques. Yeah, the exploiting the SUID bit. Basically, SUID bit stand for the user ID, which is a Linux kernel feature that allows user to execute a file with the permission of a specified user. Generally, it is a root user. As you can see this in image that there is a S character instead of a X, which represents that SUID bit set on the ping file. And this ping file will run with the root privileges. Now we are going to exploit this to get the root privileges. Yeah, now we are exploiting the SOID bit to gain the privileges. Okay, first let's clear it. Now we will know the user, and it is a Karen. You, who am I? Karen. Okay, which is not a privileged user. Now our first step is to find the all the binaries which have SOID bit set. We will use this command, find command, which will search for all the binaries in the system which have SOID bit set, and to dev null, which it is used for like handling the errors when you're finding a binary. Okay. Yes, here are the binaries which are interested in, like user, bin, sudo, umount, password. As you can see that these are set. This is SUID bit set, and this SUID bit is set by the root user, and it will run with the root privileges. Now we have to check for CFN. Okay, so I think there is not binary for that. Just we need to only search for all of them. If there is anyone, then we will use that. And I know base 64 will work on this system as I have solved this. So use this base 64 CID bit set. Yes, here you can see that like we can read the file using this base 64. Okay, actually it will help us to read the file. Yeah, okay, just like we can read the sudo. We can read the sudo slash ac shadow shadow. Yes, the permission denied. As a only root user can read this file only. So now we will read this file using the base64 command. First, we will create a variable L file which is pointing to the shadow. and here we can read the passwords of all the user. As you all know that when we are can read this password, then we will use a top tool known as John the Ripper, which will help us to crack the password, and we will get the privilege of a user. We will get the root shell. Yeah. Now move to a next one, exploiting the capabilities. First, let's know what the capability is. Capability is also similar to a SUID bit, basically, which allows a user to run the command with the permission of a owner. But it is more fine-grained control as it breaks down the root privileges into a specific capabilities. It basically assigns only necessary capabilities to processes, reducing the attack surface and thus enhances the security of the system. Whereas the SUID bit grants full root privileges if set on a root owned file and potentially posing the security risk to a system. Okay, now let's understand it with some analogy. Suppose if this is a SOID bit set on the file, then it is like a master key that open all the doors in the building. Means you will get a full root access. But if you are talking about the capabilities, then you only get an individual key for a specific room or a function within the building only. You will not get like a full privilege of whole system, or any user cannot use that capability to exploit. It is just for the particular user who will exploit that capabilities. Okay, and I hope like this explanation along with the analogy help you clarify the concept of Linux capability. I guess that's enough for the theory. Now let's jump to some hands-on experience. Basically, exploiting methodology is similar to the SUID bit. The only difference is between the backend working of a capabilities, which we already discussed. Now, first we find the executables with capability set using the get cap minus r slash command. Adding the two. Basically, get cap is a command executable which will find the capabilities. It will find all the executable which have a capability set, and minus r is for just recursive search. Okay, it will take some time. Yeah, here you can see that we are getting some results. Yes, we get the results here. As you can see that we have the Vim on the Karen folder which is set the capabilities and view also. So there is also a ping command. So first we will go to a GTFOBin and find the if there is any capability set on this. No, not on the pin. Please view. Okay, we will find the vim. Use that vim command. And here is the capabilities for the vim. Yeah. So basically, this command is for downloading that vim into a system and setting it the capability on the vim executable. But we don't need to do that. We just need to run this to get the shell. And in this command, basically, we are uh, writing a Python script for the reverse shell, and in the return, we will get that shell. So there's one mistake. Actually, we need to change the from Python to Python 3 because in this system we only have Python 3 installed. So see, ID of OMI. Now we will run the script. Yes, ID and OMI am root. Here's a time for our next technique, cron jobs. Exploiting the cron jobs. Basically, cron jobs are the automated tasks that are scheduled to run on a Linux system as specified time or an interval. There are like alarms that triggers the execution of a commands or a script and handle various tasks like system maintenance, backup, or running reports. These scripts are executed with the privilege of a user who created. We can see all the scheduled cron jobs in the cron tab. So here is a basic idea like how this attack work. We simply need to replace our own malicious script with a root of user privilege script. Now hoping in a practical skill to get an idea how it can be done in a real machines. Now we will first check the user. Who am I? Karen user. Okay, like a normal user, not a root user here. And now we will check for the cron jobs. And for checking the cron jobs, we will sing the cron tab, cats, etc, cron tab. Yes. In this file, we can see that there are some scripts which are running as a root user, and it is and the star here means that these scripts will run every minute. There's not a particular time. And here is a script I think which is of our interest. This home Karen backup.sh. We will use that script to get the reversal of our root user. Okay. So we will first check pwd ls. Yes, and we will check what is here in this. Okay, so is doing some cd and downloading a zip file. Now we are going to edit the script using editor sh. Just remove this thing. we are using this setup for getting the reverse shell code, and I am changing this IP to my machine IP 10.17.191.68. Yes. Rolex. Okay, just to write in this. Yes, we got this. Clear ls minus l. So we need to make this an executable also. Chmod plus plus x backup. Yes, and now we need to open a reversal in our target in our system also using netcat command nc minus l v lp, and port number is first chapters 4242. Okay, 4242. Now we need to wait that it will take some time, but we will get the connection. Okay, so I think I entered the wrong IP address here in the script. That's why we are not getting it. We need to reset. It's 68.91. Yes, we get the connection, and yeah, we are a root user. Yes, we are a root user here. You can see that. Now, moving to our last technique, exploiting the path variable. The path variable is an environment variable that tells shell where to look for an executable program when you type a command without specifying its full path. It is a colon separated list of directories that shell search sequentially. If a directory with the right permissions for a low privileged user is included in a path before a directory with a system binary, it can be exploited. Now basically understand how it works. Basically, first we create a malicious script with the same name as a common system binary, such as a cat, ls, or nano, whatever you want, in a writable directory within the path. When a privileged user runs the command, the shell will execute attacker script instead of an intended system binary. That attacker script can then perform actions with elevated privileges, such as creating unauthorized user, deleting files, or accessing sensitive data. Now let's test this theory on some real machines. So I don't know what problem has happened, and I'm not able to connect to the machine on the website. So I use it uses the SSH connection to connect to a try machine just for that last practical. Okay, so first we check the root, check the user, who we are, like who am I. Okay, so now here is something. Who am I? Now you can see that this who am I is located in the slash user slash bin uh, directory. Now So we will discuss about like how path variable work here. Basically, we only write that we only write the who am I command, right? And we do not specify the full path of that who am I command. So here the path variable will help us to locate the full path of this who am I binary. Okay, and now we will just search for some file which is has set SUID bit. Yes, here we can see that we are getting some file, and the file here, it is some kind of suspicious. Well, usually it is not there. So now move to this home nurtured directory and see what is that. ls minus l. Yes, here is a test binary which has SUID bit set by the root user. Let's check that. What is it type? So it's a kind of a binary file that is written on Linux. Let's try to run this. What is required? Okay, so it is finding for some kind of a THM. I think this is not a THM. It is finding. Okay, so there is a not no THM. So here we can do that. Like we can create our own malicious THM and replace that with it, and also add its part into a path variable. Okay, so let's move to a slash tmp. In tmp, any user can write anything easily. Okay, and here we will see if we have any THM. No. Okay, we will create our own, which is calling the slash bin slash bash thm. Okay, ls. Now we will make it an executable. Now let's see the path variable. Yes, so there are the paths of all the directories where system need to find the executable. Now we need to add our own path. Okay, so we are going to add our path. Okay, we are going to add our own path right now. Yes, we have added our own path. Okay, let's see that. Yes, here you can see that we have added our own directory in this path. Now we will move to our, and now we will run that test file. Yeah, here we got the root shell. I am a root. Yeah. I think you get the basic understanding of all these techniques working and how to manually exploit them. Now it's time for some automated tools. So these are some automated tools that might be more helpful for automating the stuff. These tools make your enumeration stuff easy and helps you to find which technique you are going to use for privilege escalation. You just need to import these tools into a target machine and run it. It will make your life easier. Yeah, here we reached to our end. Thank you for being with me. Hope you enjoyed and learned what you were looking for. Thank you guys.